Mortal Kombat 9 was an interesting time. It was the first time that a MK game had ever made it to EVO. It was pretty exciting. You know, everyone was super excited, and it brought out a whole bunch of people. I think we got like 500 entrants or something like that for EVO 2011. I think it was, and lots of big names from other games playing. You know, Street Fighter and Tekken and all that kind of stuff kind of crossing over. And I don't know, it was just interesting. It was the first time I had ever traveled for a game. Met lots of friends during it and lots of people, ketchup and mustard. One guy named in Super Bowl who was the other Quan Chi player. And met lots of new friends in STV. It was a really fun time. Injustice 1 was kind of a dead zone, I think, as far as NRS games go. It was successful, don't get me wrong, and it was good at bringing a lot of people over from who are fans of the DC franchise and the Mortal Kombat universe. You know, Honeybee and Biohazard are two great examples of that. And outside of that, I feel the game died fairly quickly, and people weren't as interested in it as they were MK9. But of course, Mortal Kombat has that kind of, you know, background name to it since, you know, 1992 or whatever. So Injustice 1 was a bit of a kind of a wait for the next game. Mortal Kombat X was where the franchise really started to take off in tournaments and esports, really starting out with the Fatal 8, you know, exhibition before the game's release. Was one of the most hyped things I think I've ever witnessed. And I remember I had the day off from work, and I sat at home and I watched the stream from 9 a.m. until 6 o'clock that night when it finished. And it was just one of the coolest things for me. And so many exhibitions and gameplay releases and all sorts of things. So it was really cool. And they had the ESL Pro League that ran for 3 seasons, and it was really kind of a change, you know, from NRS, from just being this somewhat kind of grassrootsy game to like kind of in the mainstream a little bit more and bringing in more people. And met a lot of new faces and new people coming up. Deoxys, Dragon, all those guys came from the MKXL days, and yeah, it was very successful. More successful than MK9, that's for sure. Injustice 2 came out, and it was a lot of the same. You know, it was a better start off than Injustice 1. It had a lot of esports recognition and a lot of big tournaments, of course, you know, the Injustice Pro Series and all that kind of thing. And again, brought some new names to the scene, not too many, but you know, it has run. Again, it kind of died fairly quickly, I think, and maybe that was a lack of support, I'm not sure. But either way, you know, again, it was a bit of a waiting period for myself, but a lot of people did enjoy Injustice 2 and maybe still play it to this day. I don't know. I'm assuming so. Someone's got to be playing it somewhere. Mortal Kombat 11 seems to be following the trend of MKX and Injustice 2 as far as the Pro Series and that. They've kind of worked out the kinks on stuff of the previous launches and the tournament scene and that kind of thing. It seems to be very promising. I really like how they integrated a lot of it into the actual game. Like, I turned it on today and it said, you know, well, come watch the Twitch, whatever, you know, open the stream here on your PlayStation. I think that's really cool because there's a lot of people that don't know that these things exist, and they did a great job of reaching out, you know, and making people, casual players, aware of it, because the tournament population is about 1% of people who actually play the game. So, you know, to increase that and bring more people into the competitive scene, I think it's great. You know, a lot of people, their tutorial system is better than ever. I can go on and on about Mortal Kombat 11. I do think that it's, whatever way you look at it, it's the best game that they've put out yet. And I find a lot of people disagreeing about that. A lot of people like Injustice better. A lot of people like MKX better. A lot of people, not too many people, but some like Injustice 1 better maybe. But a lot of people do miss the MK9 days. And I think it's that nostalgia of, you know, that's where you started. That was the very first time I went offline. That was the very first time I traveled. That was the very first time I, you know, met some of these top players or even went to a local event, you know. And that first game always seems to kind of hold, you know, a special place in your heart. You know, I'm sure even the people that started with Injustice 1, even though that game had plenty of issues, I'm sure that time and the competing and just feeling all those feelings and emotions for that first time were just just something that always sticks with you. And, you know, part of you kind of wishes you want to go back to those days. Was MK9 a better game than MKX or MK11? Absolutely not. It was a terrible game. It was so unbalanced. But a lot of people still, you know, there was a different gameplay style to it. But a lot of it is just, you know, the timing. Being a little bit younger, traveling, you know, having these crazy exhibitions in hotel rooms, you know, people willing to sleep in bathtubs just to get, you know, to a tournament. You know, they can get there, but they need a place to stay. Oh, I got a place on the floor, you know, just things like that, you know, that I think no matter what part of the NRS community you came into this, whether it's MK9, Injustice, Justice 2, MKX, MK11, you know, everyone seems to have like a time in their lives where they really, you know, that certain game was special to them, and some of them defended to the end just because it was the game that was, you know, where they joined and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't know why I decided to make a video on this today. I just was thinking about stuff, and whenever I have like a lesson and I hear such and such is an Injustice 2 character, or, you know, he plays like an MKX character, blah blah blah. You know, it kind of makes me think like, yeah, you kind of just missed those days, I think, or you just wanted to forget them, one of the two, you know. And I think it's important not to try to put your bias aside and look at, you know, the game as a whole. I think MK11 is without a doubt the most balanced game they've ever had on release to this date. So every game they put out just keeps getting better and better. They're consistent. I really, really enjoy their games. And I've got to meet so many of you guys at events. And even when I went down to Pinnacle this last weekend, it was just a small event. There was like 40 entrants, but I still got to meet lots of you guys. So, yeah, I'm very glad that I'm here and I'm part of this community. And I'm very glad that you're here. No matter who you are, maybe I'll meet you one day, maybe I won't. Either way, I'm glad you're here. And let's keep playing some Mortal Kombat.